This building will disappear in 2007 and be replaced by something quite remarkable. Archimedia is our project that involves young people in the community in the design and build process of a new media centre for Knowle West in South Bristol. And they've made the decision that this new building will be made of straw bales.
This is a short film about how we will be making our building out of straw bale panels and how it will be successful in being environmentally friendly.
I think it's important that we build this building partly with straw bales. The simple reason is it's eco-friendly. It brings down costs, so we ain't spending a grand amount of money. And it gets the community involved because we'll be hopefully building them here or over at the back at the local community centre, so then all the community can come in and say, oh, I've helped to build this building.
This site in York is using the same straw bale mod cell building system that will be used for the new Knowle West Media Centre.
Even though we're using the materials in a modern way, this type of construction has been around as long as houses, you might say. Straw and render is one of the oldest construction methods in the world. There are buildings that were put up several hundred years ago out of essentially straw and mud and render that are still there today.
There's a lot of straw bale buildings that have been built which are principally for residential, domestic, predominantly a kind of self-build community, and so there's this kind of image traditionally of straw bales being for small domestic homes, and what we wanted to do was bring straw bale cladding into mainstream building design, because cladding is a very expensive item on a building, and it involves a lot of energy to manufacture, and so what we wanted to do was actually bring straw bale into mainstream building. We also wanted to look at prefabrication, so we're not actually moving straw around on site.
And essentially, the fact that it happens to be a straw panel is almost irrelevant. It could be a piece of tin. All it is, they have left a hole in the building, the right shape for this to come along and fit on. And the sustainability and insulation properties of it mean that we think that there is going to be a huge demand for this type of construction in the future.
We've not used these panels before. It's new technology as far as we're concerned. The construction industry as a whole is responsible for a lot of waste, and all of us, my company and other companies, are taking steps to improve on that. I think we all have to be realists and look at the sustainability, the way forward, and what the future holds for all of us.
The way the components are put together for the panel itself is that everything comes flat packed, and these panels are exactly like IKEA panels, and in fact it only takes a Phillips screwdriver and a little spanner, and it's identical to an IKEA. These are in fact jumbo pieces of plywood that interlock together to create the external frame, and it creates a very kind of solid and robust and quite an elegant piece of joinery itself.
When that has been completed, we stand it up and then start installing the bales. It'll take them about an hour to set up a frame, and then a couple of hours to install all of the straw, and then we have to finish installing the steelwork. We have to apply a wire mesh to help key the render, and then we have to mix and apply the lime render.
And this is how they look when they go to site, so that builders on site don't need to deal with straw if they don't want to. There's no fire risk attached to it, and it just becomes a very big, simple building element. On site, we then add the final coat of render, and then the mod cell panel is complete and finished.
I think that the people in this will be quite pleased that we're building the new media centre with straw bales, as they will be able to get involved with the process of building the straw bales, and therefore they are placed in the media centre.
None of the skills that we're using here are specialist. Anybody who thinks of himself as a bit handy with a set of tools could do this job.
Probably one of these will take about a morning to a day to build with people, so it's a very kind of rewarding thing to do, and people could actually put their names in this and actually lift it into the building and say that was my panel. So you could even write your names in the render if you felt like it.
We know that this building is not going to either blow down or burn down. Firstly, they're heavy, they weigh well over a ton, and they're fixed rigidly to the building, and the manufacturing system locks everything together.
In extreme wind events, very high wind loads, the pressure of the wind is pushing against the panel, and it's important that the panel can withstand that. I mean, the panels are very wide, so in themselves I think they have sufficient structural integrity or resistance against the wind load. Based on the tests that we've done to date, I think, yes, these panels could withstand a hurricane-type loading, yes, certainly.
They're not going to blow down, they're not going to burn down. Many people have seen straw stacks on fire, and in fact what happens in that instance is that as the stack burns, it burns through the strings on the bales, and the bales open up and it lets the air in and it lets it keep burning. But in fact, because the bales are confined within the frame, then the straw doesn't open up if a fire did get in there. It's just like if you've ever had a bonfire and thrown a magazine on there, it doesn't burn.
The reason why we're doing this work with straw is that the environmental change that we're facing as a planet, from global warming, climate change, our concern about fuel supply, all drive us towards trying to design buildings that are more sustainable. And building a building out of straw will mean that pretty much we won't need to put any heat into it, and as a consequence not burn any fossil fuels, which then produce carbon dioxide and cause climate change. So we've got a very sustainable, renewable method of building, rather than using materials such as steel or concrete, which have an awful lot of impacts in terms of their energy use. What our experience tells us is when we add up all these benefits of natural materials, natural ventilation and natural daylight, we get an environment that people love to work in, and they get up in the morning and are happy to go to that building to do whatever they're going to do in it. And at Archimedia, what we hope is it becomes a hub and a focus for the regeneration ongoing of the community, but also to send, we hope and believe, a very positive message about designing for environmental improvement can be done, and we can all contribute towards it.
It's important to me. This building is going to be built out of straw bales because it's like different from all the rest of the other buildings in like all different parts of the country.
What excites me very much about this, and potentially using this in the Knowle West Media Centre, is this is really cutting-edge sustainable construction in the UK at the moment. This is basically trees and straw. This is real sustainable construction, and so this is an absolute real first, and it would put a real put Bristol on the map, particularly Knowle West, about where we should be going with responsible sustainable design. I mean, people do what they call sustainable design, but this is real cutting-edge, low-energy, sustainable design. So I think it would be really make Knowle West stand out as really making a good statement as to where we should be going environmentally.
I think that it's important that this building should happen in Knowle West because we always wanted a flagship building, and by being the biggest straw bale building in this area, then we are making a statement, and we will have a success in being a flagship building.